Hi, how are you? I hope you're doing well. Now, let's look at cells in biology. Cells. Cells are too small to be seen by the naked eyes. Therefore, they are observed using microscopes. Someone may ask, what is a microscope? A microscope is simply a device or an instrument used to magnify images or objects that are too small to be seen with the naked eyes. Now, there are two groups of microscopes. They have the light and an electron microscope. We have light and electron microscopes. The light microscope shows a simple structure. Shows what? A simple structure. So this is a simple word. This is a simple structure. Okay? Of a cell. While an electron microscope shows a detailed or ultra structure of a cell. A cell is a basic unit of a living organism, or a functional unit of a living what? Living organism. So, when you view a microscope using when you view a cell rather using a light microscope, these are the parts that are seen. Okay, this is an animal cell, and this one is a what? It's a plant cell. Okay, so in an animal cell, basically we see the nucleus, cytoplasm, and cell membrane. All together, three structures. Then in the plant cell, we also see this nucleus, cytoplasm, cell membrane. Now, there is a difference between a plant and animal cell. These are the structures that make. These are the parts that make these two cells different. A plant cell has a cell wall, and an animal cell doesn't have. Can you see that? Good. Then a plant cell also has plant cells have chloroplast. Animal cells don't have. They have vacuole. Animal cells don't have. Okay, so this is now the summary of the similarities between plant and animal cell. They both have cell membrane, cytoplasm, and nucleus, that we know. Now, the difference is that a plant cell has a cellulose cell wall, large vacuole, chloroplast. If even there's a irregular shape and bigger size. Okay, an animal cell doesn't have a cellulose cell wall, doesn't have a permanent vacuole, doesn't have chloroplast, and has irregular shape and small size. Okay, now when you view these cells, okay, under an electron microscope, these are the parts. Let me start with the animal cell. Okay, when you view under a light microscope. Now, let's start with an animal cell. You see, it has those basic structures: cell membrane, cytoplasm, and the nucleus. Now, where is the nucleus? A nucleus is a combination of these. Okay? So, nucleoplasm, nuclear pore, nuclear membrane, nucleolus, they make what is known as what? A nucleus. You also have Golgi bodies or Golgi apparatus. You have these sausage structures. This sausage structure is called mitochondria. We have another one which is here. Okay. Then we have these round dots here. They're black here. You can see that the black dots. They're called ribosomes. ribosomes. Now, we have endoplasmic reticulum. Now we have the rough and the smooth. Okay? We have the rough and the smooth. Now, what makes the rough endoplasmic reticulum rough? Because it has what? Ribosomes on its surface. Check. You have these black dots on the surface of this reticulum. Then you also have here. This one is smooth because it doesn't have these ribosomes. Okay. Same as on the plant cell. Here is the same thing. The difference is that the shape is regular. It has cell wall. Okay. The cell wall, vacuole here. Then even chloroplast. Okay. Let's look at the functions, shall we? Now, functions of cell parts. Let's start with the nucleus. The nucleus, this is the part responsible for controlling cell activities and the storage of genetic information on the thread of DNA called what? Called chromosomes. It is surrounded by a double membrane, like I said, there the nuclear membrane, which has openings called nuclear pores. The inside of the nucleus contains a fluid called what? Nucleoplasm. This is just a fluid. Okay, nucleoplasm, and a dense body of DNA called nucleolus. Okay, so basically, a cell and nucleus of a cell has two functions. It is responsible for all cell activities. Also, it is a storage of genetic information. Okay. Now let's look at the cell membrane. The cell membrane is this is the part which is made up of lipids and proteins, and is responsible for controlling the substances that enter and leave the cells. It is adapted for this function by being what? Selectively or partially permeable. This means it allows some substances to pass through it, but prevents others from passing through. The substances that cross the cell membrane freely include gases such as what? Oxygen and carbon dioxide. These are the gases, and also water, because the molecules of water are small in size, they can also cross the cell membrane. On the other hand, substances such as urea, whose molecules are large, do not freely cross the cell membrane, but use special carrier protein to do so. So we've looked at the function of the nucleus, which is controlling cell activities and the storage of genetic information. We've looked at the function of cell membrane, that it allows some substances to pass through it, but prevents others from passing through. It does this by being selectively permeable. And the meaning of selectively permeable is that it selects what crosses the membrane. Okay. Now, what is the cytoplasm? Cytoplasm is a jelly-like fluid made of water and dissolved substances such as proteins, salts, and sugars. Okay? It contains suspended cells called organelles and is the site for cell activities. Now take note that 3 parts, that is the nucleus, cytoplasm, and cell membrane, are collectively called protoplasm. Okay? The protoplasm is defined as the living part of the cell. Are we together? Let's look at the mitochondria. Mitochondria is singular. Mitochondria is plural. Mitochondrion is singular. Now, mitochondria, these are rod-shaped or sausage-shaped structures in the cell. Wow, what is the function of mitochondria? This is where respiration takes place. Now, this is the site for what? Respiration. For this reason, mitochondria are called the powerhouse of the cell. Are we together? Let's look at ribosomes. Ribosomes, these are small round structures in the cells where protein synthesis takes what? Where protein synthesis takes place. Where proteins, manufacture of proteins takes what? Takes place. Some ribosomes float freely in the cytoplasm, while others are attached to the rough endoplasmic what? Reticulum. Now, what are endoplasmic reticulums? Now, or what is the endoplasmic what? What is a endoplasmic reticulum or an endoplasmic reticulum? Now, an endoplasmic reticulum is a network of membranes used for transportation of substances within the cytoplasm. There are two types, like I mentioned earlier. There are two types of endoplasmic reticulums. You have the smooth endoplasmic reticulum and the rough endoplasmic reticulum. Rough endoplasmic reticulum has ribosomes on its surface. I already mentioned this. Now, the function of the rough endoplasmic reticulum is to transport proteins. Okay? Now, since proteins are manufactured or synthesized in the ribosomes, meaning if you have this endoplasmic reticulum here, a network of membrane, which is used for transportation of substances, then the rough transports what? The rough transports proteins. Okay? Then smooth endoplasmic reticulum has no ribosomes on its surface, and this one transports lipids. Are you following? Very good. Very good. Let's look at Golgi bodies. Golgi bodies are just a pile of flattened vesicles which modify and carry proteins such as enzymes from the site of synthesis to the site of what? Reaction. They are collectively called Golgi apparatus. In the plant cell, we might be aware of the chloroplast. Okay, these are oval-shaped structures found in plant cells only. They carry out photosynthesis. They contain a green pigment called chlorophyll. The function of chlorophyll is to absorb light energy used for photosynthesis. Okay? Let's look at the vacuole. The vacuole is a fluid space. It's just a space filled with fluid inside the cytoplasm of a plant cell. It contains fluid called cell sap, a solution of sugars and salt in water. And it is surrounded by a membrane called tonoplast. The concentration of the cell sap plays a role in the movement of water in and out of the cell. Let's look at the last structure, which is the cell wall. The cell wall is the outer boundary of the plant cell. Not in the animal cell. Animal cells don't have cell wall. Cell walls. It is made up of a substance called what is cellulose. It is important for protection against damage and prevention of bursting when the plant cell gains a lot of water. It also gives shape to the plant cell. Okay? Now, this cell wall, is fully permeable to all substances. It is not partially permeable like the cell membrane. This one is fully permeable. Are we together? Okay? So we have looked at two types of microscope. We have the light and electron microscope. A light microscope shows simple structures. Then an electron microscope shows detailed structures. And we've also looked at the functions of each structure, each part, okay, of an animal and a plant cell. When we meet in the next lesson, we are going to look at cell specialization. Okay? We're going to look at cell specialization. So make sure to answer the question. I'm going to send work. Okay?